not only just having passion for the business, but having passion for your crew and taking care of your people has what's really set us apart from a lot of people. We do get a lot of young kids. We get a lot of people that this is just the stepping stone to their career or, to that next step in their life of them going off to college. And I don't think we're just teaching them how to swirl yogurt. We're teaching them life skills that they're going to take everywhere. And I think that has been a huge reason of why I've been around for 15 years. It's just always been an amazing experience. And I think moving forward, that's something that we've had in talks with our consultant of what we want to continue to have. I want every single person that steps foot into Yogurt Mill to have the same experience I have had, for them to look back and be like, wow, it's amazing.
I think Eric and I were talking a lot about recently too. How do we change the perception of the restaurant business that it's a career? Mm-hmm. Because I think there's just been this perception that quick service restaurant can't be a career. You need to go find like a real person job or whatever it is.
9 to 5.
A 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and that the restaurant business isn't something that you can find a career on. So how do we show our team that it's a career? I think we're a perfect example. Yeah. They're like, oh my gosh, if they can do it, we can do it, but we want them to be something also that they're proud of.
This episode made possible by Restaurant Systems Pro. With excitement, allow me to introduce to you today's guests, co-CEOs of Yogurt Mill, Erika Esparza and Carly Young. Erika, Carly, are you two feeling unstoppable today?
Yes. Feeling unstoppable for sure.
Yeah, I'm stoked to be here. So I met you ladies by way of Restaurant Systems Pro. I've seen your passion. I've heard you go on tears during meetings, and the folks over at Restaurant Systems Pro and the community around Restaurant Systems Pro is like, you need to make an example of these ladies and what they're doing at Yogurt Mill. It's amazing. I'm here. We're going to make it happen. I can't wait to share your story and find out how you got to where you are today. But let's get that motivational, inspirational ball rolling with a success quote or mantra. What do you got for us?
Yeah, absolutely. All of our crew here at Yogurt Mill, we've always instilled in them to talk about our purpose, our mission, our core values. You could walk into any one of our stores right now and ask any one of our crew and they'll know it. Probably one of our favorites is our purpose. And our purpose here at Yogurt Mill is always to inspire happiness in everything that we do.
How do you inspire happiness in everything you do?
Oh gosh, every day, everybody has it differently. If you're going to talk about us as co-CEOs in the departments that we oversee, my biggest thing is every single department that I work with, I want to give them that undivided attention and give them what they need and give them that support and let them know that I'm here for them. Even though I'm overseeing everything right now, that time with you, it's me and you, and it's the most important. And that's what we're working on today. And I give that to everyone beneath me. If you're a lead in the store and you have 6 crew on shift, you give that undivided attention to that crew on shift and you're giving that support, and that's how you're going to inspire happiness. But to the crew, that might be different. We're giving it to the customer. We're giving it to the vendor that comes in and delivers our product to us. It's not just the customer. We're giving it to my coworker on shift. We want to give happiness to the coworker to where we contribute to a positive working environment.
Are you swirling happiness?
We are swirling happiness.
And my follow-up question was, you said something that was really key. Is we want to make, if you walked up to any one of our employees, they'd be able to tell you what the mission is and what the values are. And I think a lot of people take it as far as we're going to write our mission down. We're going to write our vision down. We're going to write our core values down, but we're not going to bake it into day-to-day language and communication to the point where everybody knows what it is. And we're going deeper than I usually do out of the gate with the opening quote, but I think there's a lesson here. How do you get people to know what the mission is every day? How do you make it baked in? Yeah,
well, every single day we have our pre-shift huddle. So every single time a crew clocks in, you're going through the pre-shift with your manager or lead on shift. And culture was a big proponent of that. Not only are you learning what position am I working today, what special cleaning tasks do I have, but what am I learning about our culture that day? And so we always include something that has something to do with mission, purpose, core values. MPCV is what we do.
You got to literally work it into your rituals.
And it might be you're just learning how to memorize it at first. It doesn't hit home until later.
Can you give me an example just to make sure it drives home?
An example,
of how you bring it into the conversation every day. So you said you're working into the weekly meeting, right? Or the daily meeting, did you say?
Yeah, it's every shift that starts, you're pre-shifted first.
So do you how do you know what to talk about that day?
So every single Monday we have a GM call.
Okay.
And every manager gets on that call with the corporate office with us. and we say, hey, we would like our focus to be this week. So when you meet with every single squad member that clocks in on shift this week, this is what's on your pre-shift.
Okay.
And if we want that focus that week, like let's say maybe we've had, you know, some poor reviews about genuine service, and genuine service is one of our core values. You know, we're going to make sure that our focus on the pre-shift is all about service. So we might ask a squad member on the pre-shift, hey, what does genuine service mean to you? And they're going to have that conversation with their lead. Every single person that clocks in is going to have that conversation with their lead, and let that be the focus of mind.
Got it.
But in the very beginning, it was very much like I said, it was repetitive. Just memorize this. It was kind of like that Karate
Mr.
Kid.
Miyagi, yeah.
Wax on, wax
Wax
off.
on, wax off, yeah.
And then you understand what it is later.
And the pre-shift huddle really came. We have a sports background. So for us, how do you know how you're going to win the game if you don't have a game plan, what you're trying to execute, and you know what's going on? And that's really where the pre-shift huddle came about, is we wanted to make sure everyone knew on shift what our goal was on that shift, what we're trying to execute, and what we're trying to hit home to customers.
Awesome way to get this thing started, ladies. Thank you very much. So where does it make sense to start sharing the story?
Sharing the story.
Yeah. How far? Do we go back to 1978?
Oh, it's 1984. Well,
Oh,
yeah,
your parents
technically
met
it's
back.
1978.
And I can fact check you because there's a timeline right over your shoulder. Right
Yes.
now. Strategically placed by me.
1978. Yeah, we Eric and I like to call it ancient times. Way back when. Yeah, it was 1978. My parents met at Modesto High School right here in town. And, you know, my mom came over from Mexico super young. And my dad, you know, his family originated in Oklahoma, came over to California. And they met freshman year, just crossed paths. And my dad invited her to his birthday. And it was, lo and behold, at a ice cream shop.
Baller move.
Yeah. Well, she was running for class president. And so she was kind of a to-do, right? And he always had big drive, big ambition. And he invited her to his birthday party, his 15th.
That's pretty ambitious.
Yeah. It was at an ice cream shop on McHenry Avenue, which is like a main road here in
So
Modesto.
there's a trend starting already.
Yes.
Oh, already. And like I said, we always imagine it was like a Lady and a Tramp thing. We're sharing yogurt, they stare into each other's eyes, they fall in love. The rest is history.
So that was only 6 years before they went into business.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
No, they graduated and got married, and they went right into it. My dad's dad owned a refrigeration company.
Okay.
So from the very beginning, my dad was going to like A&W or, you know, it wasn't really Starbucks at the time, but McDonald's, all those soft serve machines, they were working on all type of refrigeration. And those soft serve machines are always finicky. How many times have you gone through McDonald's and they say the ice cream machine is
Right.
down? You know, and so he actually loved it. And so many workers never wanted to go on call and go do calls that had to deal with the soft serve machines because they're very finicky machines. And he loved it. And when the restaurant, you know, soft serve frozen yogurt boom happened, he looked at my mom and said, we can do this. I'm going out to these calls all the time. There's these self-serve locations popping up left and right. You know, I can get some of these machines on the cheap, and let's do it.
So to make it clear for our listeners, if you're just listening to this, right now we have Carly on the microphone. Carly Young, the daughter of Larry and Sochi Young. And we're talking about I don't know if that came out like super clear, and that was on me. So Carly's on the mic right now. And so help me understand, was your dad working for a repair company? Like, what was he doing?
Yeah, so
Okay.
he was working for his dad's refrigeration
Oh,
company,
okay.
and that's how he got introduced
Got
to
it.
understanding the art of soft serve machines.
Did he go to college for anything?
No, absolutely. My parents, none of them went to college.
And so what was like? Did he have a passion for like why frozen yogurt and not ice cream?
Oh, well, I think, you know, ice cream is just scooped out of the bucket, so it was never connected to the machinery business.
He was working on.
You had to deal with machines when it was soft serve only.
Got it.
So that's what connected him. And, you know, my parents, you know, they grew up in the West Side and they didn't get a lot. And when he would go and work on those machines, they would always give him a free cone that he could take home. It was like he hit the lottery. You know, it was like, oh my gosh, I get this free cone. I'm working on these machines. It's awesome. Like, he just fell in love with it and saw that everybody was having all these problems with it, but he could do it with his eyes closed.
Yeah, and what's kind of interesting right now, there's this big conversation around like streamlining process and how can you use machinery or robotics or AI to streamline process. And your dad in 1984, I don't know if it was intentional, but he's thinking that way. How can I create a system that's dependent on these machines to do a lot of the heavy lifting? And then you guys kind of just like from there, just, add some finishing touches. But I also don't want to make assumptions. But is this safe to say that he's kind of, was thinking a little ahead of the curve?
Yes, which is typical for Larry. He's always a little bit ahead of the curve for us.
Was he aware of what he would, like the efficiencies in terms of like, his prime costs and like all these different things that he was going to affect by doing one thing really well and by putting most of the heavy lifting on automation?
What do you think?
I wouldn't think so. I think honestly, Larry's passion came from he wanted to make people as happy as he was when he was leaving with that comb. And I think that was always his thought process is I want my customers to be happy.
Good quality.
I want my crew to be happy, and I want to have a quality product that people want to come back for. And that's really was his thought process. Everything else just kind of...
I think when you think about machinery too, he would go and work on Dairy Queens or whatever, and they were like, we're going to put so much air into this product to where I can make more money. And he was
so much
always
air into this product,
yes.
like literally.
Yeah, you got to pump air into it. So if you were to pour yogurt into a machine and just put it on freeze, it would be disgusting. Okay. It's gross, actually. You have to put soft serve product. You have to pump a certain amount of air into it to make it light and the flavor come to life. If it's just regular product, it tastes like nothing. It's very odd when it's frozen. But majority, have you ever gone to like In-N-Out and you got in a shake and it's so light?
Yeah.
You could just like, it's nothing. There's no density to it because it's majority air. And, for us, we've always been our certain special formula that we have that we're going to do way more product than air. And you're going to get quality. But everywhere else, it's just majority air.
Okay. Well, for me, in my perspective, like I didn't really know about frozen yogurt. It wasn't on my radar until like the early 2010s. I think there was like...
that was the boom.
Yeah, there was like a boom. Exactly. I think
boom.
It was orange, like... It was an orange one.
Orange Julius? I thought it was smoothies.
Pinkberry.
What am I thinking?
It was
Froyo, maybe?
Pinkberry, Yogurtland, Yogafina, LA Cultures, TCBY.
Right. But your dad was like literally 20 years ahead of that.
Yep.
Yes.
More.
Yep.
Oh, he's always ahead of the game.
So in terms of frozen yogurt, was like how did he know that was... Where was frozen yogurt in 1984?
Just getting started, probably.
Yeah, I think from what he's explained to us, there's been many times of like it coming into a boom and then it fades off, and he's seen stores close, and then it has another boom, and then it's same thing, stores fade off. So I think in the 1980s there was like the Penguin restaurants that he's mentioned that kind of hit a fad and that were growing.
Rita's Italian Ice comes in and does yogurt.
Yeah.
It's always they come in and then they leave, but we stay.
Did he ever get into why he chose frozen yogurt over soft serve? Same technology, right?
It's a little bit, it's the same technology. It's pretty much the same thing. We do a variety. So we do have frozen yogurt, and we do have like a premium dairy bases that technically consider it soft serve. For example, like we'll have a pistachio gelato on the line.
Okay.
You would call that soft serve, or you would call that soft serve gelato.
Got it.
But you do actually have frozen yogurt on the line. And so we're trying to educate our customers a little bit more about that. Like we have our oat milk. And, that's a non-dairy option. And if you look at our menu board, we have icons that will tell you, is it non-dairy? What is it that you're looking for? No sugar added. We have all that on the menu board.
But when he opened in 1984, he was going to be frozen yogurt. That was his path. Did he ever say why he chose that?
I think that was the boom at the time. That's what everyone was doing.
Well, I'm curious. Is it like, was he trying to differentiate too? Like, was he trying to stand out? But I wasn't aware of what was happening in the frozen yogurt.
Yeah, I think he was trying to be different in just the quality of product that he was giving.
Yeah.
That he was watching these people and how they were taking care of their machines and what they were doing to prime them, or how much air to yogurt ratio. And he saw what they were doing. The quality wasn't there, and he knew he could do a better quality
stand out.
because he understood the machines.
Yeah, and I think it's also really intelligent of your dad to also focus on something that he already has a skill in. Right. So like he's leaning into his strengths, and like he knows that he can manage these machines. He also has to manage people too.
Correct.
But like he has a unique skill set that he only has to rely on him and his skill that he's developed. So I just think it's a really smart way to get started. He saw the opportunity. Any other aspect of like the getting started in terms of like parts of the store that need to be added before we start moving forward?
Yeah, I just think I think the journey was amazing. I think my mom supported him completely. She had a love for orthodontics, and she spent a lot of time in that. And once he realized that what he was doing was making big traction, I'll never forget when my dad told me when he opened his first store, he worked every single day, open to close, and he only took one day off in that whole year.
Wow.
And he knew it was big, and there was lines out the door, and the machines couldn't keep up fast enough at the time.
How many machines did he have when he started?
Oh, he probably had, 6?
I think so.
Wow.
Yeah, he probably had about, now we have 8 in each store. But the machines they're still not even made to run our volume that we run now.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and we meet, we're with like the owners of the companies that make our machines, and they really don't make them any
better than what we have there.
And we need them to be better because our volume is so large. But yeah, way back when, I think that he needed my mom at some point. Right. He was like, hey, it's taken off. This is crazy. Leave this. Come over. Let's do some bookkeeping. Let's hire
get some employees in here.
Let's get some employees in here. Like, this is a real thing. And it blew up. And
so when did he get employees in? When did that happen?
Oh gosh, that happened. I think it was a little after 84.
Mm-hmm.
Probably a year after.
Okay. And your mom was working with him full time by 84 or by 85?
Probably about then.
Okay.
Yeah.
You came on scene in 1996.
Yeah.
Right? I'm just doing some quick math.
I was born in 95, yes.
You're born in 95. Okay, born in 95.
Yeah.
So they're already like 10 years in. Are you an only child?
No,
okay.
I have 2 older brothers.
Okay. Are they involved in the business?
Yes, my oldest brother is involved in the business, and he does all our graphics, designs, everything on the menu board, all the beautiful visuals and stuff that you see of every single product that we have. They've played a role in that, and they've also done menu and campaign development, so our acai bowls, all that kind of stuff. They've done a lot of research on that and just, made our product amazing.
Which brother is this?
My oldest brother, Colby.
Colby. And I want to give a shout out to Colby because I talked to Fred Langley, CEO of Restaurant Systems Pro, before rolling into today's conversation because he knows your business really well. And I was like, Fred, give me some tips. Like, what are they doing that, like, what do I need to put focus on? He's like, absolutely, the branding is amazing. One thing you have to bring to the surface. There's more than that, but I want to just give your brother a nod. Well done, sir, on the branding.
Yes.
And what about your other brother?
Yeah, my other brother Mitchell isn't involved, but I will tell you, he comes down from Santa Cruz area and he eats a lot of it.
Yeah.
And he loves it. He's our number 1 fan,
yes.
obviously. And my brother Mitchell also, he is big into marketing too and what he does in his own time. And he always gives incredible advice on what we can do and what he loves and what we can improve on. So I always appreciate that.
I love it. Okay. So in what way did the restaurants, the yogurt mill locations scale over time? Because you came on, they were already 10 years in by the time you got here.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you weren't working in the restaurant in 95 and 96.
Nope.
So highlight the points along the way, the key transformative parts for your mom and your dad at this point.
Yeah. Gosh, I think that, when you're young and business is about taking risks, and I think it's scary, especially when you come from not a lot, and neither of my parents did. So, trying to figure out, are we going to take this risk was scary for my mom. And sure, the first store is great, but when you start wanting to talk about second stores, third stores, fourth stores, it gets scary.
Yeah.
And the investment gets big. And, she just had to make that decision. And I know she's so happy about it now. And she's happy that she did it. And my dad, I don't want to say proved her wrong, but, it was like, look, I was able to do this.
Yep.
I think that was a little bit scary, though.
Was it always their dream to have it be like a legacy, like a family to pass the baton to like the next generation of kids? Or like, was that like their idea or was it your idea? How did that come into frame?
My dad never, ever pressured any one of us to be like, I need you to take over the business.
Yeah.
When I got into college and, I was going to school for teaching at the time.
Okay.
And
you're still teaching. Who would have thought? That's a huge
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, when I got into this accelerated teaching program at Sonoma State, it very much, when my dad came to me and said, hey, listen, like, I don't think that your brothers are going to come and take over in a leadership role of this company, talking about selling, what are the options? I said, you know what? I spent 90 hours in a 4th grade classroom. wasn't for me.
Yeah.
I switched over to secondary education, was like, maybe I'll teach high schoolers, maybe I'll teach college students in English. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to switch over to business and I'm going to see what it's like. And I fell in love with it immediately.
What did you love about it?
Being a boss is being a teacher, really, essentially. You know, I'm an A-type person. Eric and I both are.
Just a little bit older children.
Yes.
Yeah. And they got buy-in on this.
Yeah.
You know, I'm here, I'm here to learn. I'm here to
Money
grow.
motivates.
They're eager.
Yeah.
Money motivates. Yeah, it's different than, just kids in school that are there just to be there. You know, it's a little bit different. So there's more minds to mold, I feel like. And, I just fell in love with it and I knew this is what I needed to do. Some people go away to college and they're like, I'm never going back home. And me, I went away to college and I said, all I want to do is come home.
Yeah.
I knew it was here for me. And I don't want to say my transition back and starting at Yoga One was perfectly easy. Coming back as the owner's daughter is never easy.
Right. And I think we'll get into that stuff for sure. But I think we're just going to use the cheat sheet right behind you just to kind of like paint the picture. So 1984 is when your parents opened the first location of Yogurt Mill. In 1989, it looks like you can probably read that a little bit better because my eyes aren't. Does it say, what's that?
It was Roseburg Square.
Roseburg Square was the
Our
second
location.
location. Are all these locations that we're about to cover, all of them still open?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. 1993, 4 years after opening the second location. So there was a 5-year period from first to second, a 4-year period from second to third. And that was, I don't know if it really matters to say the location, but what does that say?
That's Oakdale Road. It's our double drive-through.
It's
our double drive-through.
Double drive-through.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We'll have to hover over that. And then then there looks like there was 11 years from your third to fourth location. So before we dive into that, 2015, what happened there? Is that your fifth location?
Yeah, that's our Turok location, another drive-through.
There are 5 locations today.
There's 4.
There's 4.
So the one in 1984 was on Coffee and Floyd. That was our first location. They ended up closing those doors and opening a Roseburg location in 1989.
So 2015 was the last location that you opened.
Correct.
And then you also started putting your food into retail with packaged goods. Do I see that in 2017?
Yes, that's our commissary.
Yes.
And then your food truck in 2022. And then that's when the baton was passed.
Correct.
2023 thereafter. And then 2024, second food truck was purchased. So that's the timeline of the Yogurt Mill. What up, Unstoppable restaurant owners and operators? We have to interrupt today's video to let you know that Restaurant Unstoppable and Restaurant Systems Pro, we're taking our relationship to the next level. Beginning in July of 2024, Fred Langley, CEO of Restaurant Systems Pro, is making himself available once a week in Restaurant Unstoppable Network to answer all of your restaurant systems questions, whether it's be profit margins. He will look at your P&L. Bring your P&L. He will take a look at that. He will dissect it. He will help you find your profit, whether that be through budgeting, inventory management, costing recipe cards, labor, checklists, you name it. He is a master of restaurant systems and he's making himself available to you. Fred Langley and Restaurant Systems Pro started as a consulting firm, and for over 16 years, they've been helping their clients increase their profit by 10% or more. What are you waiting for? Click the link below to join our Facebook group, Restaurant Unstoppable Network. So with that timeline, you were talking about, it was like when you started to scale for your mom, she was getting stressed out. These are big commitments. These are scary moves to make. I mean, I know you weren't even on scene, like literally weren't even like, you're like a speckle in your dad's eye at this point. But like, what do they talk about that? Is there part of the story that you can share with like the lessons they learned that they've paid forward to you?
Oh gosh, I do feel like, they built those first 2 and there was a long period until they did another one because of course 08 hit for everyone. But it was actually a blessing for my parents when 2008 hit because it was this big recession, but nobody was traveling anymore, but they still wanted to treat themselves. So they came to Yogurt Mill and we boomed. And around that time, we started just doing very, very well. And the community really gave to us, and we've always given back to the community through so many fundraisers and so many things that I think that for my mom, it was more and more faith that we could do more. I think that the self-serve model was always such a huge franchise. Like, it's such a huge thing that my dad was like, let me take a whack at it.
Right.
So that was our next move, which I do understand.
When did that move happen?
Oh gosh, it's been mostly the move always, but it came in at the very beginning when my parents first started it, faded out, and it came back in around when I was in high school. So probably about 2010 and on is when they really started booming with a bunch of them, and then they all faded out again. But we've always been very successful of, keeping our stores open.
So when you're saying fading
well.
and fading out, you're talking about consumer trends?
The trends.
Okay,
Yep.
got it.
Yeah, businesses come in and they open a bunch of frozen yogurt places, self-serve. You only self-serve. We've never gotten anyone that makes the product themselves, and they all close.
Okay. Yeah. So you guys take it from like yogurt to like you wait, do you guys make the yogurt?
We do.
Oh wow, I didn't even know.
Our crew
that.
swirls it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but we only have one store that was 2014 that is self-serve, where the customers will come in and make it themselves, which is the normal model.
Wait, but do you actually make the yogurt that you swirl?
Some of them.
Okay.
There's some that have recipes, others that we like purchase. Obviously, we have our own distribution that we receive our product from, and then there's some that we actually mix ingredients in to make them custom made.
Got it.
Yeah.
But when your dad opened back in 1984, he was pulling and doing the swirl
Correct.
and handing it.
Yes,
and
it was
in 2010 is when you started to say, let's see if we can.
So 2014, that's our only location that the customers in and come in and serve themselves. Still to this day, our Roseburg, Oakdale, Turlock locations, we service the customer. They come in, they tell us what size they want, what flavor they want, what toppings, and our crew makes that for them.
And that was the third location where you decided to go all in on self-serve.
Correct. Have a self-serve option because some people like that experience.
Right. So Erika on the mic now. You came on scene in 2009.
Correct.
Is when you started working.
Yes.
You've been here for 15 years.
Correct.
So you were around before the 2014 third location opened.
Yes, I actually started my journey at the Roseburg location.
Okay.
As a little crew member.
And the Roseburg location was the
1989
second location.
Yep.
Got it. Oh man, so much to talk about. So, I mean, do I just get into like current time?
No, let's
like
talk about the
and just
journey.
talk about all the different locations.
Let's talk
and
about
the different
journey.
Right?
Talk about how you met your husband.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, just there's so many questions going through my mind. Like, what is like the challenges of having essentially two operation models, right? The serve yourself and the hand it to the guest option. Is the goal to go to all self-serve, or what are you guys leaning towards right now? What's better?
It's a little bit of a catch-22 because I mean the drive-through locations. I don't feel like when we opened Pellendale it was harder to open the self-serve because you have the drive-throughs that are so hard to operate. I mean, you have people coming into the lobby. You have the drive-through. Now in 2020, the online ordering hit a big boom, so we were taking care of that. So I honestly think the self-serve model was easier for us because we were so used to the drive-through and the double drive-through model. So yeah, I think the self-serve was a little bit easier for us, but it's kind of a
they
discussion.
definitely don't make as much money.
Yeah.
I think to say it plainly, I mean, you could run a self-serve location with 6 crew. Mm-hmm. I need 40 crew at a drive-through, but you're going to make way more money. Like
way more money with the self-serve.
No, with the drive-through.
Why? Oh, so
it has more overhead, but you're getting more gross sales coming through it
because there's more throughput.
Yes, there's more throughput.
So is it just the fact that people like the convenience of the drive-through,
of it,
and you have 2 lanes?
Correct.
Yes.
Which is huge.
Yes.
So I think there's something to be said that are most of the the frozen yogurts that you're putting out, are they eaten with a spoon or are they like lick?
Most of them are spoon. So
Okay.
our most popular products are the
So that is
cup.
drive-through friendly, where like,
Yes.
I mean, you shouldn't be driving with your knee and eating
Yeah.
yogurt. But I get
Yeah.
it.
And so much of our sales, like it's not just like cup with yogurt and topping. It's
transformed
shakes
over the
and-
years.
Yeah, it's shakes. It's acai bowls. Shakes are huge for
Okay.
us. We sell a lot.
I think I have a game plan in my head now. So, in like along the line of like your family and the history, do you? I mean, you're the CEOs. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about. You don't need permission from your parents. Like, what were the things that they, that they would, if they were sitting in your seats right now, what would they say? Like, this was a real challenge for us, or we recommend. Were they self-funded? Did they like cash flow, or did they go to banks and get loans to do this? Like,
Yeah.
that's the kind of thing I'm interested in. How do they scale it?
Yeah. I think in the beginning, my dad, I think he maybe got a loan from
From your mom's dad, I think.
my grandpa. a very small one,
Okay.
and they had refrigeration equipment already that was older that they got just pennies
So
on the
super
dollar.
lean. Super lean stuff.
Yeah, super lean, like way back.
And did they
he
cash-
went in on it with a partner, and he
Your dad.
told me,
Okay.
you know, within 3 months he had dreams of killing the guy, you know, and he said, you know, no one will ever have the attention to detail that you have and what he needed. And the sales were tremendous, and he was staying there all night long, and it was awesome. He was able to turn around and buy him out. Well, another guy wanted to come in and buy it, and he got lucky and sold it and made good money and was able to go and open his own on Roseburg. You know, that's how it all started.
Okay.
You know, he got really lucky.
So what is the best entrepreneurial advice that your mom and dad have given you?
Me?
Yeah.
For me and myself as a CTO?
Yeah.
And how I run the business?
Yeah.
Burn the midnight oil?
So a lot of it's been the passion.
Yeah. Be passionate
Be
about what you're
passionate
doing.
about it.
You cannot do what you're doing without passion, and you cannot do it well. And you're not going to make it for the long haul if you don't have passion in what you're doing.
Got it.
And it is burned into me, that passion. It's never going to go away. I feel it day in and day and night. And I go to bed at night thinking about it because I want to think about it, not because I feel like I have to. And I feel like that's
It's
a
fun.
blessing.
Yeah.
It is a blessing. And Erika and I'm just blessed that we have this relationship together. I grew up knowing Erika when I was younger.
Do you go to the school together?
No.
No, I'm a little bit older than
Okay. So you came on in 2009.
Correct.
Where were you in 2009?
I had just graduated from Modesto High, and then I was going to MJC, and I was playing soccer at MJC,
Okay.
Modesto Junior College. for
MJC,
people.
okay.
Yeah. My mom was telling me, you got to get a job. You can't be taking 3 units, and that's it at school. You got to figure something out. And so I went and applied at Yogurt Mill. It was the only job that I ever got a call back from, and I had an interview with Sochi, and I can still remember where I was when she called me. And
What'd you go to school for?
I went to MJC just for like general ed.
Okay.
I ended up getting my bachelor's in teaching as well.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah. So
both teaching.
Yeah,
there's
both
lots
teaching.
of opportunity in the restaurant industry
Yeah.
for new teachers out there. We need more of
Oh.
it.
Yes, definitely.
So in 2009, what was your vision for yourself? Where did you think, if you could close your eyes and say, in 15 years, I'm going to be here? Where was
I
that?
really thought I was going to be a teacher. And then I started working at Yogurt Mill, and I was a crew member for 4 months. And I remember we had kind of had this transition of old employees that were leaving. And I went and talked to Larry myself and asked him if I could have the opportunity to become a lead, which is like our squad leader, shift supervisor. He said yes. And so I got trained for that, did that for a few months, and then kind of moved on to assistant manager and then general manager. I think as I
How
started,
long did it take you to become a general manager?
it took me about 2 years.
2 years. Okay.
Yeah. And then a couple years after that, I was the area manager for only at the time Oakdale and Roseburg.
Okay. So the area, so you guys split the areas into basically half. So there would be
Well,
two
at that
area
time, it was
managers.
just the 2 locations.
Oh, okay.
So I was just overseeing Oakdale and Roseburg.
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, the main thing was once I started getting into Yogurt Mill and saw the opportunity and got to work with Larry and Sochi and started working more one-on-one with them, I mean, there was just no... After that, I saw Yogurt Mill as a career.
Yeah. So
it was full torn. Yeah.
2011, you become area manager,
Mm-hmm.
and you were area manager until how long?
2016 maybe.
Okay, so 5 years.
I was overseeing the 4 locations at first, and then I got moved up to director of operations.
Oh, cool.
Essentially, it was the same thing. I had a couple people underneath me that were helping me to oversee the stores, and I started diving more into financials for us and started getting a little bit more of the marketing side and working more one-on-one with Larry and Sochi,
Okay.
kind of learning more of what they do.
And that was 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And then, was there another pivot for you aside from becoming co-CEO?
No, I think just director of operations, Carly came into the mix, and then we started working more together. And then it kind of transitioned over to CEOs in 2023.
Yeah,
Okay.
I feel like my transition in was very methodical. Like we had a consultant that was already helping Yogurt Mill, but also helping my transition in, because I think we were talking about like what's the failure rate of the next generation that takes over.
Right.
a
Recession
restaurant.
is a big deal.
Yeah.
So what I should say secession. There's a risk. Not yet. Definitely not recession. Secession. So 2016, you're the director of operations. What year did you come in to actually be full time?
I wasn't into till the end of 2019. 2016, I was still in college.
Gotcha. Okay. So what was that like for you when you decided to come in? Go to 2019. Erika, you're the director of operations at this time, and you're saying to yourself, I see myself. Like, was your intention to become the owner or CEO of Yogurt Mill at this point?
Gosh, me to think back then, I guess so.
Yeah.
I
mean,
guess
what other option was there?
I guess it was.
So
yeah.
you went to school to become a teacher. You decide, I don't want to be a teacher, much like Erika, and you start taking classes for business. And you're like, crap, I like this.
I loved it.
And then you hire a consultant because you know that succession can be a real challenge. Great foresight, by the way, on your parents or whoever.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. So what was that challenge like for you?
Oh wow. Our company is predominantly women, and they're mostly young. So coming back out of college and me also being young and a woman, I think it was kind of like you're stepping into the scene of Mean Girls. Like, it was like that. And it was kind of wild.
So like they're like, who's this girl coming in here? We've been working here for years. Well, let me ask you, Erika, what was it like being here from 2009 and then 10 years after working here? You know, like, was that hard for you?
Absolutely. I'm sure it was. You're probably like, oh my gosh.
I mean, I think there were some difficulties in just the transition, and like there were things that for her, me overseeing the operations, her working in the stores, there was definitely things that like maybe she would see in the store that I didn't see, and she would go and be talking about that with Larry or bring it up to me, and now it makes you kind of feel like you're not doing your job so much, but not, I don't think for Carly and I personality wise, just because we've known each other for so long in that aspect. But
you got to see her grow up. I mean, you know her from the time she was
high school and
20. How old were you in 2019? If you don't mind me aging you.
22.
22. So from 12 years old
21
to like 22 years old, you probably knew of her existence.
Oh yes, sure, definitely.
You know? So and this is where Restaurant Unstoppable gets weird, for the record, is when you start talking about like relationships.
That's
but
totally
I think
fine,
that's what we need to talk about. Is like,
Yeah.
Managing emotions, managing relationships. So pick up that train of thought of what it was like.
I mean, I think that was probably the most difficult thing, was just the transition between her, myself, and Larry, that there's a chain of command that we've always followed. And so if there was things that like were happening in the stores, it would go through me. If I didn't know the answer, I'd go to Larry and ask him. So then I was being taught what to do in the future.
Got it.
I think that was probably the biggest hiccup that we had to overcome, was she would see things in the stores, go back and be talking to Larry, and then I would hear it later on from Larry of like what the solution was or what was going on. But I think that was probably the biggest hindrance that we had.
It was just, I guess, chain of command or like hierarchy of like the way information flows.
Yes, like the way the information flows. So that if there was ever a machine issue, for example, and it was happening on one of my shift leaders, their shifts, they would then communicate that to their manager or to their what we called store coach, essentially like an area manager, and then they would report that to me. So I knew what was going on in the stores. When Carly came in, it was kind of like that sometimes wouldn't be communicated to me, and so that would be like probably the biggest issue that we would have in the stores.
Got it. Where was the Yogurt Mill in 2019? It was
we were at four locations. We were at 4 locations.
You didn't know the pandemic was on the horizon
Nope.
yet. In terms of like the history of Yogurt Mill, in terms of like profitability and efficiency, were you guys operating, would you say, like, was this like the strongest you've been, or was there a point where you were stronger?
I think now we're probably stronger than we were, but at that point, that was the strongest that we were operating. We had RSP, Restaurant Systems Pro, since I think, 2014, 2012. And so we had a lot of our systems in place. We had a lot of things that we were tracking. 2014 was a great for sales wise for us. It was hot during the summer.
2014.
Yeah.
So where were you before 2014? Do you like at this point, 2014, you were the area manager?
Yes.
Okay, so you probably are privy to some information at this point, right?
Yes.
From like a executive viewpoint. So yeah, get into the details of what Yogurt Mill was in 2013.
2013, we were making good sales, but we weren't doing well in tracking our inventory, the waste that was being out. I think that was the biggest thing from transition from 2013 to 2014 was just the waste alone.
Yeah.
In order to have the amount of the quality of product that we want, we know that there's some yogurt in the machine that we're going to leave. You don't want the machine to be sucking air, is what we call it, essentially, to where there's not enough product in there to where it's almost like a Cool Whip consistency. We don't want that. So we know in order for us to have the quality of product we want, we know there has to be a certain reservoir of product left into the machine
that you're going to dump.
that you're going to dump.
Okay, so there's waste no matter what.
There's waste no matter what.
Dairy waste
Yep.
too. Which
And
is,
our classic shakes, which were, just a typical like Oreo shake, vanilla shake, those were on the rise. So we were going through those like crazy. And we didn't really have like a system for that.
Like just swirl 6 swirls. Some
Yeah.
person might do a
Right in the
small
center.
swirl in
Yep.
the blender. Some people might go crazy,
Go wide.
and there could be this much waste off a shake, and there could be this much waste off a shake.
Yeah.
got it. So
You
in
know.
2013, you had tons of top line revenue.
Correct.
Sales
Yeah.
were good. Lines
Correct.
were out the door. You couldn't keep up with the line. That's solves a lot of problems.
Correct. It
doesn't
hides a lot.
Yeah.
Yes, it
It
does.
hides it.
So what was going on in 2013 where you were like, we need to do better? We need to, if revenue, if top line sales are good, can you share approximately where are you able to talk about gross and where you were in 2013?
Gosh, such a long time ago.
Ballpark it. If you had a guess. It was 10 years ago, over 10 years ago.
I don't know how many million.
5 million?
5 million.
Maybe
with
5
4
million?
stores.
I don't know off the top of my head for
Okay.
that.
It's probably
for sure.
lower than that. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. I mean, I was in high school.
So that's great. You
Yeah.
have a pretty streamlined operation.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of labor expenses associated with the model relative to say a full service restaurant. You don't need to pay an executive chef, it's like some type
Correct.
of like super technical, skilled, creative position. So that's really you guys. I mean, again, that top line revenue really takes care of a lot of your headaches.
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
So
correct.
in 2013, like what was it? What was driving you guys to do more? Why, if things are so good, why did you feel like you could do better?
I think it was a lot of, again, going back to Larry and Sochi, I think that from what he's talked to me about is around the 1993, 2014, between that time frame, around 2008, whatever time frame that was,
Right.
he kind of rested on his laurels a little bit, and he said he got complacent.
So why did he stop at 3 locations? Was it all they could manage with themselves, or were they just content? I mean,
Yeah, I think
3
that was like their
million a year
bandwidth
and-
at that
yeah.
point. I mean, I don't think he really ever foresaw it going
as big as it did.
as big as it did.
I'm assuming he was probably doing between 10 and 15% pre-Restaurant Assistance Pro with the volume like that, right?
Yeah.
Right? So if you're doing $3 million a year at 15%, like, and you're happy,
Yeah.
like, why push it?
Yeah.
Why complicate it if you don't have to?
Yeah.
So 2014, 13, what's going on where he's like, okay,
I think he saw the world, like what he has explained to me is that he's seen technology come up. He saw the world kind of passing by a little bit, and he was like, oh crap, I kind of rested on my morals a little bit and didn't keep going with the trends and everything that was happening. How do I
there's a
get
new
better
wave
quickly?
coming at this point
Yes.
where he's like, I'm not going to miss this wave.
Yeah. So from that, it was like, what are we going to do to get better and make sure that we don't get lost in the shuffle as it
Okay.
continues to
Yeah.
grow?
And then he popped out 2 stores in 2 years.
Yeah.
Like,
Then it
he
was
said he
then
lost
it
30
was,
pounds doing that.
then it was quick. Then it was like, let's get this going. He met David Scott Peters and Fred at a conference, had a conversation with them. Brought in Sochi, who was a little bit jaded by other consultants and people that promise things, and met with them.
And David Scott Peters, his motto was, if I can save you, what was it, $10,000 in the first whatever, then let's, and he did that easily.
Yeah. So they met with them. Sochi was sold on it. We started with Restaurant Systems Pro. Larry and Sochi invested in Fred, which I know a lot of other people, even in RSP and Restaurant Systems Pro, didn't invest like that. But they
What do you mean they invested in Fred?
They invested for Fred to come down and like train me one-on-one.
Okay.
So we had somebody else come in and kind of set up the systems, but then Fred was coming every month and meeting with myself, Larry, and Sochi, and he would do a lot of one-on-one training with me.
So you were here when they made that decision to go with Restaurant Systems
Yes.
Pro.
Yeah.
What was that like for you?
Exciting. I was just kind of coming into that area manager position and understanding like all the ins and outs, not just, running a shift, just like everything in the back end that you don't even think of. And then having Fred there to teach me the math of it and the thought process of it. I mean, even as simple as like the waste was huge for us, like we said, knowing to track the waste and how much money you have to make in order to make up that waste. But even going to filling the machines, we were so used to you open a container, you pour it into the machine, and we would just let it sit and throw it away, right? The container. Well, then Fred noticed how much waste is now from the inside of the containers going down to the bottom, and we were wasting I think it was 5 ounces
There's
per
yogurt
container.
on the walls of the container that sits down, and once it melts down, you can see that there's more product in there. So you wait to double pour.
Yeah.
Double pour.
Picture
your
like a
container.
gallon of milk that you're pouring, and then it's like the very ends of it. And when you set it back down, all the milk kind of goes down, collects to the bottom.
I like to use the smoothie example. Whenever I make a smoothie and I dump it out, I'm like, there's still like 2 ounces in
exactly.
there.
Yeah.
You gotta let it wait to melt, and then it collects.
Yep.
Boom.
So prior to that, we were just kind of pouring it once and tossing it, and then when Fred came, we started looking at double pouring it and how much that was going to save us. And I think it was just things of those nature that he was teaching, of the math and the thought process, the operations, really just catapulted us to really have a different mindset of it. It was just everything. We started calling it question everything.
Yeah, I think it's really special that she was able to experience all that. I was a senior in high school at the time, and I remember actually I was working at Roseburg Square location just as a squad member, and Fred would come in on the line and everyone would be like, there's someone coming in the store today, be on your best behavior. And Fred would come up, and I remember I grabbed a cone to make a cone, and there's like the little like paper sleeve on it, because like, never grab a cone without a napkin. And I'll never forget it. Every single time I see someone, never grab a cone without a napkin.
And
doesn't matter if there's a sleeve on it.
What was it like? I'm interested, like, as 2 young women having Fred come in, like, what was that like?
It was great.
What was it like working with Fred?
It was,
because I know Fred pretty well, so like, I'm just like
Fred is very much, I mean, for Carly and I, were both competitive. We're both kind of had that same personality, so I was never intimidated by Fred. It was exciting. It was exciting to have him here. Yeah, and it was working with girls. Working with him. It was like, what other competitiveness, like what other things can we put in there? What other competitions can we make? We'd make waste competitions with the stores and have them see who could have the least amount of waste on shift, or this is how much waste we had last week. Let's see what we can get for next week. We've had this many customer complaints. Let's see if we can get less. Like, it was fun. He's
also just a sweet damn man.
Yeah.
Like, he really is just like the nicest guy who just wants to see people happy, and like
succeed.
And I can see him as a coach coming in. I know he is a coach.
Yeah.
He's played collegiate baseball. He's been coaching his sons for as long as they've been able to throw a baseball. So I can see him being like a great, like, gentle coach coming in, and like, you know, to your point, like, never grab a cone without a napkin. Like, that would be like, just like, correcting the process, not the person.
Yes. Teach us how to cut strawberries correctly. He was actually the first one to really go over the Mr. Miyagi when he was showing me things. He said, he said, I'm going to show you some things, and you're not going to understand it. I just need you to wax on, wax off, and I'll teach you later on how that works and why it works. So
and I actually interned with RSP when I was right when I left college, and I went into Yogurt Mill for a couple of years. Then I left, and my for about a whole entire summer, which summer through Phoenix was fun in Arizona. And, it was me getting to see, it was wax on, wax off. I was doing budget variance reports. I was doing all that stuff. But what's the true connection? You see the connection at Yogurt Mill, but when you go and see it at all these other restaurants, the connection, it like really hits home. Yeah. Like me getting to go to RSP and shadow with them for about 4 months, and me actually go on trips with Lisa Rath and go and see, okay, you need your invoices put in, you need this, like your whole inventory is crazy, like let's work this all for you. And seeing that full picture for everyone else, like really set it in that it's not just like this little world of Yogurt Mill that we're doing this. This is like real life, and everybody has to do this, and you see what everyone else is going through. It was a special thing for me to see that with RSP.
Cool. I didn't know that you did an internship there. That's
really
it
was
cool.
So awesome. And then other people, part of the elite group, were sending people down for free, saying, please intern this person for free, and let them get this growth that Carly got.
Maybe I should do an internship.
You should.
Fabulous.
So in 2013-14, they weren't a software yet, were they? They weren't.
No, we were doing our like our budget variance reports. That was like on an Excel. Yeah, they had Excel formulas that you had to fill.
At this point, right?
It was very different from what RSP is now.
Right. So so it sounds like when Fred came, really what he was doing was he was just taking a pulse on the business, like like where are there opportunities to close the waste and increase the margins. And like you mentioned it earlier, but you said how much were you throwing away every day on average per location?
When we first started doing RSP, we were throwing away about $3,000 a week per location.
$3,000 a week.
$3,000 a week per location.
4 locations. Wait, we only had 2 locations at this point in 2014?
At 2014, we started opening Pellendale and Turlock's at 20. So at that point, we had 2 locations. So about $6,000
a week. Yeah, you're just burning.
Just burning.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you remember what your prime costs were in 2013 and 14 in that 1 year that you started just pushing things around?
I don't remember what they were in the beginning. I remember when we hit 45%. And that was like
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was a few years into it. But I don't remember what they were
So
at
like
the
by
beginning.
2015, 16, you were at 45%.
Yeah, we were hitting
prime cost.
45%.
What percent was labor?
Labor was about 20%, 19%.
And
our food costs, our goal has always been to 25%. We were hitting it around that time.
wow. So
Yeah.
25% food costs and 15, or sorry, you said 15%? My math
About
is 20%.
20%. We were hitting 40%.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, most of your product is dairy. So
Correct.
That's
It's
not
expensive.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that's really interesting. So, so what was the next evolution? So this sounds like that was a pretty huge evolution for you.
Huge.
As much as I love talking about restaurant systems,
Yeah,
Pro, I don't want to
huge.
put the whole focus on that. So like what beyond 2015, 16, when you started really dialing your systems and your processes and you got your prime cost to 45%, what was the next evolution for you?
Probably COVID.
COVID was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
After
So
that, it was probably
you
COVID.
finished your internship.
Yeah.
You're back home. You're like, time to get this thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I came
So
back
much for
from
that.
Arizona, and I came back, and it was like all hell broke loose.
Yep.
Well, I could see yogurt mill being one of those concepts because it's not. It's you have the delivery, you have the self-serve
Yep.
option. Were you really affected by COVID?
So the drive-throughs, not something we were affected in a good way during 2020. I mean, the lines were out the door. Crew was happy because they actually had a place to go work. They weren't stuck at home. 2020 was solid for us. 2021, the beginning was really great, and then it started to slowly taper off and get really bad for us around school time when everyone started going back to school.
2022, you said?
2021,
2021. So was it back to where it was pre-pandemic or worse?
worse.
What do you think was going on there?
We had a lot of people going back to school that weren't like, they were planning to stay here locally for school. And then when everything started opening up, it was like, hey, you know what? I'm actually going to leave for school. So we lost a lot of our great crew that we used to have people there for 2-3 years. And then they just left. So a lot of our great staff was heading out.
Yeah.
So you think a lot of what was hurting was the fact that you just didn't have the
turnover.
leadership there to deliver.
Absolutely. And I think, too, like the crew, they were so used to being at home doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'm going to go work a shift at Yogurt Mill and get my ass kicked for 8 hours. It's like, it's
They're looking forward to it because they're
constant.
getting out of the house.
Yeah, and they're making money, and you're running around the whole time. You're moving. But the second that you get into school, a lot of them said, like, our teachers are going crazy. They're throwing that curriculum down. You've been out of school for this long. Now I'm starting football practice, and I'm doing this. And it became like the big, what do they call that? What was it?
The
Mass exodus.
it wasn't
Yes.
like a recession. What do they call it? The resignation, the Great
The
Resignation.
Great
Right.
Resignation.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
Yeah.
And that's what killed
Because they were
us.
still going to do all that and still coming because it was summertime and it was
They
still
were
people
tired
pandemic
of coming and
they're
working
getting
a
their ass
shift where
kicked.
you're getting your ass kicked every day, and the line is so long. They were over it.
Yeah,
It was like,
this isn't fun anymore.
I don't want to do it anymore. I'm now getting grilled with all this schoolwork, and now I'm running all over the place at practice, at sports practice. Why would I want to come and work a 4-hour night shift and get my butt kicked at work?
So what percentage of your employees are high school?
About 90%.
90. So I was
90%.
gonna say,
About
what about
90%.
college?
85 maybe high school, and the rest is college.
Got it.
Yeah, a lot of it is high school. A lot of it.
16 to 22 ballpark.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got it. And I think the other thing too, at least from like the 18 to 22 around this time, I think that around the time of the pandemic, people started realizing the gig economy really kind of was on the rise during that time too. So I can go be essentially self-employed, make my own schedule, go grocery shopping, or doing Uber or whatever.
Yes.
And there's dog walking,
Yep.
Going
grocery shopping for
Mr.
people,
Mrs.
yep.
Handy woman, man, like whatever you want to do, like there's an opportunity for you to like basically have your own schedule in the gig economy. I think that isn't discussed enough as to why the restaurant industry is struggling. What up, unstoppable restaurant owners and operators? We have to interrupt today's video to let you know that Restaurant Unstoppable and Restaurant Systems Pro, we're taking our relationship to the next level. Beginning in July of 2024, Fred Langley, CEO of Restaurant Systems Pro, is making himself available once a week in Restaurant Unstoppable Network to answer all of your restaurant systems questions, whether it's be profit margins. He will look at your P&L. Bring your P&L. He will take a look at that. He will dissect it. He will help you find your profit, whether that be through budgeting, inventory management, costing recipe cards, labor, checklists, you name it. He is a master on restaurant systems, and he's making himself available to you. Fred Langley and Restaurant Systems Pros started as a consulting firm, and for over 16 years, they've been helping their clients increase their profit by 10% or more. What are you waiting for? Click the link below to join our Facebook group, Restaurant Unstoppable Network. But so you guys had this challenge. So was it the fact that the quality of service was going down because you didn't have the same level of experience?
We didn't have enough crew.
We didn't have enough staff.
Oh, it's just,
we didn't have enough staff to even function.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did this, and this was 2021 when this happens. How did this get into how that rippled throughout your business and like the resulting effect of this?
So yeah, it was crazy for that time. We ended up having for a couple weeks shutting down all of our locations Monday and Tuesday to do these huge training sessions at all the locations, get people staffed up. We had to get new management in the stores. At that point, I think just with how long I was in the stores and also just with the 2021, you were running in and we were working shifts like crazy. I would be calling Carly and be like, you know, we have to work this shift tonight because we don't have anybody to work it.
Yeah. I'd be out at dinner with my parents, just be like, what are you doing right now? Come to Oakdale.
Come in Oakdale. We need to work this shift.
Come to Oakdale Road. They're slammed. There's 30 cars in the drive-through. We don't have anyone.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So that kind of transitioned us for me to step out of operations at that time and Carly to step in operations. She was coming back just to run our catering events department. And at that time it was like, I just can't do this anymore. I have 3 kids. I have, my life. I love Yogurt Mill, but my life cannot just strictly be me working in the stores and just going crazy because that's where it was. It was not, I was not in a good headspace at all. Having that conversation with her right away, just being like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll step in and run this operation and we transferred. And that was like a huge transfer.
I think that was a big bonding moment between Erika and I too. Like, I think that's what made it so like, oh, we're like this team. Like we have this connection. Like when you're down, I'm up. And when I'm down, you're up. And we just had that instantly together. And that's what makes us the team that we are.
So on that vein of being a team, like what are your lanes today? How would you say you complement each other? After working now, you've known each other for a long time, but you've been working with each other for about 5 years. Yeah. How have you decided to stay in each other's lanes?
We split it all up when we did co-CEO, and we had a lot of thought process about it. And Erika, you can talk about what you oversee.
So I oversee the marketing department, our maintenance, and then our self-distribution.
Okay, self-distribution.
And financials.
All financials. So we have doing all those P&Ls.
So on top of Yogurt Mill, we also have a company called SunCow Distributing. We made this company when...
SunCow Distributing?
SunCow Distributing, kind of like sunny California.
Got it.
And so this was created when our vendors were shorting us vanilla and all of our core product to run our business to the standard we wanted to run it to. So we created a distribution company so where we can now purchase our product directly from Dannon or whoever we want to purchase from.
Cream.
Okay.
So we have our own distribution. So I oversee any of the large purchasing that we do for our bakery, for here at our warehouse that we have. We have product that we deliver to our stores every week.
So you guys are doing a lot of vertical integration here too, cutting out the middleman.
Yep.
So you have your own bakery?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you had the 4 locations,
correct,
the 2 food trucks, and your own bakery. And that bakery came in 2017?
Yes.
Correct.
Got it. And distribution.
Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting. It's getting more. See, this is why I had to shoot from the hip. Because I just listen. I don't know what questions I'm going to have. So I feel like we're jumping around a lot, but I'm getting it all out there. We started talking about succession, and I want to make sure that comes out. So you did hire a consultant. It was a good experience with the consultant.
Yeah.
But in terms of succession, like what were the things that were good about that experience?
About transitioning into Yogurt Mill from college and doing all that. Well, I think for me, I worked with that consultant when I was in college, just growing my self-growth before I even got into Yogurt Mill.
How was your self-growth?
Oh, it was great. Like any type of books that she would have me read, I'm trying to remember any of them. I don't know if it was like Think Like a Millionaire. I don't want that to sound a certain way. But
well, I mean, there's something to be said about like Rich Dad Poor Dad. Right?
Yeah,
Yes.
Rich Dad Poor
Yes.
Dad. I read all of those ones. It was very much like changing your thought process to think like that.
Yeah, and I think I think the word millionaire, billionaire comes with like, oh, that's all you care about is the money.
Yeah.
But they see the world differently.
Correct.
Yes.
And I think it's important to kind of understand that perspective. Like part of what I'm trying to do with this podcast is just offer perspective.
Yeah.
Like there is no one way to become successful in the restaurant industry.
Yep.
And that's
Yeah.
what I learned. I had like this moment when I was like 700, 600, maybe like 800 episodes in where I was like, time to shit or get off the pot. Like, what the fuck have you learned, dude?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, for every good piece of advice I've learned, there's a countering, completely opposite way to do something, which is also good advice.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think that the truth is that it's very complicated. It's dynamic. It's constantly changing. There's
Always.
different strengths and weaknesses that restaurateurs can have. So it depends. Like,
Yeah.
what's your concept? What are your
Yep.
strengths?
Yeah.
What are your
Right.
goals? Where are you?
Yeah.
You know, so along that line.
Your consultant is like your therapist.
Right.
Really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how does she help you kind of understand more? Or was it a she or he?
She.
Okay. Maybe I'm getting too much information at this point. I just want to make sure I'm labeling them. They. We'll call them they for the sake of this conversation. What did they teach you about, yourself?
I think I had to do some of those personality tests. What was the DISC one? I don't remember exactly.
Myers-Briggs?
Yep.
Yeah, Myers-Briggs.
Predictive index?
Yeah, learning my personality traits and
What are
how
you?
I function. Oh, gosh, what was it? We're the opposite.
I'm an ID.
What's an ID?
So I am very direct in how I do things. It's very black and white for me.
I'm that way too.
And then I have a little bit of understanding when it comes to people, but my D is very dominant. I'm very black and white to the point.
Mine was more like empathetic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
more
is
of a
definitely how our roles are
That's
today.
how we are.
Yeah.
A little more social, a little more empathy, a little
Yeah.
more this, but we're also very both direct.
Is that Myers-Briggs? What test
That was
is this?
DISC.
DISC?
The one
It
that
was
I'm thinking of is
DISC.
DISC.
It's a separate one.
Okay. Did you take just DISC or were there more personality
I've
tests?
only taken DISC. I don't know if you've taken.
I've
I've
heard
taken
DISC.
Myers-Briggs in college, but I don't remember exactly all my
All of
Gs.
mine are pretty much the same here.
Yeah, these tests are awesome. There's a
They
ton
are
of them
awesome.
out there.
Yes.
You
DISC,
learn that you're very
Myers-Briggs.
A-type.
Yeah, I did the predictive index, which is really good. And the more you can become self-aware,
Yeah.
the
Agreed.
better. And then when you become self-aware and you can better understand, if you can have your teammates take
Absolutely.
these
You understand how to work well together.
Yeah, you start to learn how to communicate with certain people.
I think our current consultant really taught us. It's not always just focus. Don't spend all your time focusing on your weaknesses. Like if Erika's more of a math mind, why are you going to spend all your time trying to make yourself this mathematician when she already has it? Focus on the strengths that you have,
And
build
getting
them,
better,
and be
yes.
in those roles and
Stay in
just
your
rock
lane.
it
Yep.
and
Yeah.
kill it.
Yep.
And
Go further together.
yeah.
So what were the lanes that you developed after working with this person?
Yeah, so once I did transition out of college and into yoga remote, it was very important that I started at the dirt bottom. Like you gotta be at the bottom. Like you gotta start as a squad member. Work your way up to a lead, work your way up to AGM and then GM, and then that's when I transferred out and moved into doing the internship with RSP and understanding the background of everything.
Whose idea was it to have you work through every system, every role?
It was my dad and the consultant.
Smart.
Yeah. It was, and also it's just like you just have to. I think we went a little bit extreme, a little bit. It was very much like, if this person gets paid mileage, you're not going to get paid mileage. If this person gets this bonus, you're not going to get this bonus, because everyone's going to think that you're going to get everything and you're going to get less than everyone else does because you're the owner's daughter. And I think we went a little bit far to the extreme, but it was almost like I felt like I had to.
Overcompensation.
Yes.
Yeah, it felt a little bit like that, but I was getting hit with it anyway.
Yeah.
It was going to happen no matter what.
Yeah.
And it was like, you have to work a million times harder than everyone else is.
Well, I think there's some truth to that, and I think also making it so juxtaposed where people have to see the different, like how you're being treated, either the same or maybe even a little worse,
Yeah.
so that there is no question that you're not getting special treatment. That
Yeah.
if that was even to arise, everybody around would be like, what the hell are you talking about?
Exactly.
Like we've seen the growth, we've seen the steps that she
Yeah.
had to go through to get here. We've seen the fact that it might have been even harder for her than it was for us.
Which I think that's even hard to accomplish when majority of your company is young.
Right.
Yep.
You know, it was like, you're just going to fight against this.
Right.
You're
and
fighting against the grain.
Yeah. You're gonna try and do it. No matter how hard you work, you're still probably gonna get the perception, but you're gonna try as hard to not get it.
So in terms of like secession. So it's working with a person who is succeeding to help them really understand holistically the business and themselves, and really figuring out how do their unique strengths best serve the business, and how do we help them become aware of that. What about actually like the passing? And this is where again it gets awkward. Like, how do you go about, like, what does that look like on paper? Like, what does that look like legally? Like, can you share anything along those veins? This is where I can be kind of a jerk sometimes. So like, nobody wants to talk about this stuff.
Yeah, you're saying
The passing of the baton.
Yeah.
the passing of the baton. Well, I will say that during the succession or whatever, I think when I came back from ours, there may have been like drama before, this is the owner's daughter kind of stuff, and then I leave and go away in the middle of the summer when it's the highest time, that might have some, it was not my choice, but it was like, you're leaving right now when we're in the thick of it.
Right.
And then you come
Did
back.
they know how hot it is in Phoenix during this time? Maybe they would.
And I did. I worked on food trucks when I was out in Phoenix too,
Yeah.
trying to learn that too for our trucks, and it was super hot. But when I came back, it has that perception, like, oh, you left us in our high time, and you're coming back when we're not.
Yeah.
And that was something to fight against. But right when I came back, that's right when we lost all those crew. That's right when COVID was happening. That's right when that big hit happened, and it was like, you got to step up. Mm-hmm. Right. And it was like everyone's saying, oh my gosh, we don't have a closer tonight. We don't have this tonight. Erika's like, I need help here. I need help here. And for me, it was like, I'll jump in wherever. And I think that's when all that stuff faded away about being the owner's daughter happened then. Mm-hmm. And it was like, it didn't matter anymore.
There's bigger focus at him.
Yeah, there was a bigger focus, and all that mattered is that Carly was helping.
But in terms of like at an executive level, right, where you're actually literally passing the baton, shifting, you go from the founder and CEOs to co-CEO situation.
Yeah.
On paper, legalities.
Yeah.
If somebody's listening to this and they have a successful concept, or maybe they want to pass their business on to their kids someday, like, what is your advice?
I think my biggest advice is don't do it until you have respect. And that didn't come until that part happened with us when we lost everyone.
Got it.
Yeah. It was like all that owner's artists, like I said, it all faded away and the respect was there.
Right. Don't just hand a kid a business.
Correct.
Do not. You have to earn it, and you have to gain respect with the company that you have, or else you're going to lose everyone.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
And they have to show that they're there for everyone. They're to support everyone. They're going to put everyone else before themselves.
Yeah.
They have to earn that mutual respect. They have to put in that work and get that. And once you have that, people are going to be happy for you. When you get that spot, they're going to be like, hell yeah, she deserves that. Mm-hmm. And that's what had to happen. And I'm blessed for the journey that we went through. I don't want to say that it was ever easy, but I say, and it wasn't, and like I said, how Erika was, I mean, it came crashing down on her. She has all these kids and all this stuff. And we came in and we helped each other. It grew our relationship. It grew the respect that I gained in this company. And I'm blessed. Mm-hmm. It happened for a reason for us.
It did.
It truly did.
I'm curious to get Erika's perspective. You're agreeing and shaking your head yes to everything, but what was that really like as somebody who has earned tenure with an organization, who's the COO, your boss's child decides that this is something that they might be interested in the future. Before you let it play out, to realize that she was worthy of this and to be a worthy co-CEO, was there what was the real narrative in your head back in 2017, 18 when this started? You're like, oh man,
I think when she first came in and she was in the locations, like I said earlier, that was probably the most difficult time because it was kind of stepping on my toes, right? And it was like these conversations are being had, but it did open up a lot of open conversations with Larry and I, and Larry has always been respective and just open to hearing, like, I understand where you're coming from. Let me go ahead and fix this. And like, you're right. We need to follow the chain of command. That was probably the biggest time that I had some kind of like red flags with it.
It was just the chain of command.
It was just because I was overseeing operations and she was in the stores, and it was creating some of that animosity and questions between what was going on.
Okay.
Once she stepped into operations and I started overseeing what I was overseeing, there was never a question. I think, like Carly said, once she started helping in the stores and that respect level of no longer this kid that I grew up with, but you're right next to me in the heart of everything, and we're working together, it really created that bond for us. And then I think as soon as we split up tasks recently when we became CEOs and we were very definite and this is what you're overseeing, this is what I'm overseeing, there hasn't really been any issue since.
Yeah, and that happened in 2023.
Yes.
Yeah.
All
Correct.
right, so let's jump to 2023. We did kind of jump right over. Is it worth going into 2022 getting the food truck? And do you think we should talk about vertical integration and the pros and cons of that? What do you want to talk about?
I think we can go into 2023.
Yeah, I think we can go into 2023.
Yeah.
Okay. So in 2023, there's 4 locations,
Yep.
1 food truck.
Yep.
In a commissary / bakery.
Yep.
You own your own purchasing, distributing company. What was it like? 2023.
Exciting.
CEO.
Yeah, 2023 was
Exciting.
awesome. I feel like we spent all of 22, well, at least for me in operations, it was like 2021, shit broke loose. So 2022, we're just
Putting everything back together.
We're just putting everything back together. I don't have an AGM or GM over here. Like, let's build, you know? So 2022 was all building. And 2023, it was like, you know, my dad came to us and was like, give it a whirl, right? Let's do it.
So you're saying building, you were talking about building people.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what is that like? Mass exodus. All of your leadership team goes. You're basically, the leadership team is the 2 of you. Mm-hmm. You also have
Michaela.
I almost said Mackenzie again. Sorry, Michaela.
We also have Andrea, and she's huge for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they didn't leave. They
No,
stuck
they
around.
stayed,
They climbed up the ladder.
Well,
Michaela left us and came back.
She left us in the
she
heart
came
of
back,
it.
so
Yeah,
she's
she
pretty
came
come
back. Yeah.
Didn't take long, and we actually did a bet on how long it was going to take for her to come back.
So take us through like what it's like to build people, and it's taking you. It's not easy to do that. So like,
No.
What was your approach?
Yeah, I think definitely our approach is always build from within.
Yes.
We don't really always like to hire out. It hasn't always worked with us. So crew that come with us and they show promise and they're 16 and it's their first job and they're killing it and they move up fast and they love Yogurt Mill and they have passion for Yogurt Mill and you know they have integrity. They show up to their shifts. They do well. They have pride. You know, those are the crew that we want to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we become very close with them. We have a lot of culture events and things that we do with the crew where we develop relationship with them. And I always pride ourselves on being a company that we are very understanding. You know, life happens and life happens for everyone, but that's difficult in the restaurant business. But, you know, if they can't come into that shift that day due to whatever, like we're going to do whatever it is to take care of them because we know like they're just they're good. They're a good person. Mm-hmm. They work hard for us. We work hard for them. Like it's a give and take. And we have that relationship with them where that matters to us.
So the second thing that Fred said when I asked him, like, where do I really need to like drill and like pull back layers on these ladies? He said systems, accountability, and creating culture with a young workforce.
Yeah.
So what is your organizational chart today? 2 CEOs at the top. Mm-hmm. What's below? What's like? I mean, how many? Let's reverse engineer. So you have line staff, frontline workers, managers or AGMs, GMs,
Correct.
area managers still.
Area manager.
Okay, director of operations.
Nope. Just Carly.
So we're at that level, right?
Yeah. Catering and events, managers, sales, all of that. Yeah.
So you have your frontline, AGM, GM, area. What else?
Then it goes directly to Carly. Then you have the catering event, same thing. You have your squad, you have your management, and then you have Carly. We have a maintenance manager who oversees all of our maintenance for those stores. He also does the deliveries for our distribution company. We have my marketing team, and then we also have
I do recruiting training, development,
Okay.
HR.
Got it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you're wearing a lot of hats.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Got it.
Gosh,
Which
menu
makes sense.
campaign
So
development.
4 locations,
Correct.
like you
Small
haven't
business.
built that C-suite yet. You're not there where you have like your chief everything.
Correct.
Yeah.
It takes a lot to like.
A lot.
Usually,
I think
venture
a lot of us are like,
capitalism.
we can do it.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Well, I think it is getting easier because there are tools and services and
Yep.
AI that are available to us.
100%.
Absolutely.
And then also like outsourcing and
Yes.
getting
Absolutely.
What's the term? Why am I what's it called? Like a part-time executive, fractional executives, which is I think something that's going to be on the rise for the future. But anyway, I digress. So how many GMs per store do you have?
Just one GM, one
Okay.
AGM.
Okay. and 2 area regional.
1 area manager.
I have 1 area manager, but I do have an operations support manager that oversees all of like the admin tasks. So we call it like Manager Monday or BVR Monday, which is just like Restaurant Systems Pro. And on Mondays, like they're going to submit all their budget variance reports, like all those big admin things that we assess every single week. And that operations support manager double checks every single thing, like every single paid out that got admitted, every single invoice is dialed in correctly. Like they're like to the T that our admin stuff is done correctly.
Got it. And so in 2021 you had basically sounded like maybe 1 or 2 managers, like you're really, so like you had to build back at least 2 or 3 more managers.
Yes,
you had to build up the AGMs.
Yes.
And we were building up the catering events because the truck was about to launch in 2022.
Yes.
And that was my other
truck.
question. You have 2 trucks. Well, you had 1 truck in 2023.
2022.
Yeah, 2022. Do you have like, how do you like hire somebody to run the truck, or do you just take team members to like
We're taking team members right now. So I think what we figured out is that you couldn't really hire out for the truck because you got to be fast. We're going out to these events. The line is 1 trillion miles long. You got to be able to pump out yogurts and pump out our menu fast. Because we originally were taking crew from our Pellendale location, which is a self-serve location, and they do know how to make some yogurts because they do some DoorDash's online ordering, but they don't make yogurts on the daily. So we ended up realizing that we need to take crew from our highest gross sales store is Oakdale Road. So now we're taking crew from them because they can handle big events and they can go fast.
So do you have like, how many people would you say are qualified and trained to take out a food truck at this point?
Right now I have a lot actually.
Okay.
I probably have about 8-10 people that can
so
take out our truck
as you
out.
have like events coming up, how do you like hire, or how do you like staff for events? Is it do you use like are you using Restaurant Systems Pro Labor Management
right now? That we use Restaurant Systems Pro Labor Management to make our schedules, and then but we do book all our events through CaterZen.
Okay.
And then every single Tuesday all my managers come here. We're making schedules for the next week.
CaterZen.
Got it. CaterZen.
Got it.
Every single Tuesday, all my managers come here to the corporate office and we make all our schedules for the following week. It takes a long time because we honor every single request off.
Well, yeah, when you
every single availability,
which makes it worth it to have a labor management tool that can help you communicate all of that.
Absolutely.
Imagine having to juggle all that with a spreadsheet.
Yeah. That's exactly what we use.
So when you have a new event come in, and like say it's is there a minimum booking period so you can like schedule for that event?
You called me yesterday and today we had something from Gallo that said we want yogurts for 400 people, and I said we'll do it right now.
So would you just build that into the labor management and like make it like shifts that people could grab? Is that how you do it? Like open shifts available?
Oh, it's like who's here? Who can make this yogurt? Okay. We're gonna run and we're gonna make it. Yeah. When it's that short notice, we'll do that. But if it is already scheduled the week before, it's all in RSP. It's all scheduled and all done that way.
Got it. So you've been running the food truck for 2 years now.
Yeah.
What are the biggest challenges with the food truck?
The food truck is completely different than the stores.
It's
a wild card. And it always is. And so there could be so many events that we're scheduling out for the following week. Some you're just going out and selling, so you have your selling menu. And some that this person wants chocolate and stock cold brew. This next event wants vanilla and salted caramel pretzel. And this event might be 50 miles away. This event might be 25 miles away. So when are we scheduling that when we're going to fill up gas and diesel? When are we scheduling that we're going to switch out machines and switch out the whole entire topping bar because it's a custom event? This digital menu board has to get designed for this event, and we need to switch it out for this one. It's a whole piece.
Yeah,
it's a
but
puzzle.
It's cool. But I love how dynamic and how custom it is. And then, I mean, how many machines are on the...
Only one.
Mm-hmm. So you can't have the full menu.
Correct.
So you have to modify and customize the experience for the event.
Yes.
But you have the digital signage that lets you do that, which is really cool.
Yep.
How many different, not smoothies, but frozen yogurts can you run out of one machine? I'm assuming just one.
2 in a swirl.
2 in a swirl? Okay. Interesting.
But you can make things so like almost majority of our menu is based off vanilla at Yogurt Mill.
As a base.
Yeah. And so you could get a Nutter Butter Outrageous cup that's layered with Nutter Butter sauce, chocolate sauce, Reese's cup, but it's made with vanilla. You could do that same vanilla.
I'm going to a Yogurt Mill after this.
You could get that same vanilla cup, and it's the strawberry cheesecake cup layered with fresh strawberries, cheesecake bites, strawberry sauce. So, it's very versatile.
Got it. Okay, so in terms of the food truck, Oh man, I had a train of thought. Where was I going with that? You're treating it like your own business. It's okay. So are you looking at the food truck? Is that your catering arm essentially? When you say, is that one word, catering food truck?
Yeah. The catering froyo truck. Yeah. Like that's like our biggest thing, but we do full service as well, where it's our pop out tent. And that's what we always used to do. Mm-hmm. We had to pre-make yogurts, put it in an ice chest with dry ice.
I think I saw one of those going out today.
Yes. Yeah. And so when our trucks are booked, we're pushing full service.
Got it. Yeah. So do you look at the food truck as more like branding, marketing, like awareness? Is that your angle?
It's bringing in a lot of money. I don't want to say that it's not, but when it isn't bringing in so much money, we're happy that it's still bringing in branding and marketing. We're going out. We're doing a lot of events that they're fundraising. That we're going out to the 4th of July parades. All Christmas light parades and all this kind of stuff, and you're making no money, but that you're showing your brand out there. Right. So it's doing both for you.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I've learned in my interviews is to look at your food truck not so much as a profit generator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not to say that it can't make profit.
We're pushing for profit.
Yeah, like it should be a yes and.
Correct.
Right? Like yes, it's brand awareness and profit, but really what you're getting with that is you're getting your brand, you're bringing the food to the people.
Yep. Yeah.
So if you've driven past Yogurt Mill 100 times and you're at this event that your stupid company made you go to and like you don't really want to be there, but you have to be there for work to socialize, and there's frozen yogurt. Holy shit, this is amazing.
Right.
And like I drive by this place all the time. Like I'm gonna start going there.
Yeah.
And I think that's how you got to look at it, is just to get the food in the mouths of the people.
Absolutely, and offer a bounce back.
Yeah, and like even if you're breaking even, perfect, because it's like you're getting free marketing, but we still want to make a profit.
Absolutely.
Okay, so in terms of where you are today, where are you today? Paint the picture of where you are today. Or we kind of covered org chart, but what about tech stack? You're still with Restaurant Systems Pro.
Correct.
That's evolved a lot now. Mm-hmm. So how has that impacted your business? They're at personal evolutions.
I mean, a lot with like we said, with the prime cost, looking at the COGS, looking at the labor. We use it for our distribution to make sure, like, if we're going to be purchasing something, what are we currently purchasing it from our other vendors? I mean, I feel like RSP just kind of completely changed our business and helped us to be more on top of it and more educated and just all around. Yeah. I don't use RSP as much anymore.
Accountable. Yeah. It holds everybody accountable.
So you're doing the training in the operations. So this is very much your vertical RSP. Are you leveraging all the systems, the training systems, and the like the checklist and all that stuff?
We use separate checklists because we have them on our iPads. So we use Jolt for our DDRs and for our checklist because there's picture confirmation that we really, really like. If we say pull this fridge out and clean behind it, we're making you take a picture of it, and I want a picture of your shoe. Because my operations support manager is going to pull up and see all the pictures that were submitted last week, and we saw that it was your shoe. So we're going to sit down and talk about it. So there are some things that we use and some things that we don't.
Okay. So what is your tech stack today?
Yeah, we have RSP. We use Neon. Yeah, we use Jolt for our checklist. We use Merchant Centric, which is where people come in and they're able to do like all of our Google reviews,
Yelp reviews,
everything.
So it's an aggregator of all of your online reviews.
So where instead of having to go on all those different platforms, we have one platform, and it also does really great reporting for us.
What kind of reporting do you get with that?
So we get reporting per location. We can also compare to other competitors and see what kind of like ratings they're getting compared to what we're getting. It'll put them in different categories. If it's customer service that this location needs to work on, but then this other location needs to work on cleanliness or whatever the case may be, it really dives into
you can
that.
Segment the feedback.
Yep.
That's been really helpful, and our managers actually are bonused off their Merchant-Centric score.
Mm-hmm. Merchant-Centric is what it's called.
Merchant-Centric.
Merchant-Centric is what it's called.
Yep.
And what would you say the biggest impact that has had in terms of ROI?
I mean, we're able to catch it in real time instead of us having to search for on all these different platforms and maybe missing a review or not. We're getting them emailed to us right away as soon as they happen.
I think you're also seeing the pattern very clearly. Mm-hmm. You're not having to put together the pieces. It's like this whole report just came up, and why did 3 stores I get reviews that the customers are pissed that we're not taking customers 5 minutes after closing, which we always teach our crew. You take the customers until the line is gone.
Yeah. Did you look into any other solutions, or was this the one that you got, like the only one that was on your radar?
This was so many years ago.
It was a long time ago.
I don't remember. I'm
It's the
sure
one we
they did
settled
look
with.
in because we typically look at multiple
We always look at
options
multiple.
and
Got
compare
it.
them. So I'm sure that they did, and this was just the one that we decided to go with.
Okay.
We also did Tattle is another system that we use, another tech item that we use where instead of it integrates with our loyalty system Paytronic. So then after the third visit, if a customer comes in and they use their app and get it scanned and they come into the store, it'll automatically email them asking them to leave us a review.
So it's a customer feedback platform.
Yep. And then we have them on like our little table circles in the store to where if customers maybe had a bad experience or anything, they're more likely to use that and come to us directly than be posting on Yelp or something somewhere else where, it's more public. It's
Rather
something
than
that come directly to us.
So we said Restaurant Assistance Pro,
Yep.
what was it? Merchant what?
Merchant centric.
Merchant centric. Tattle.
Tattle.
What are you using for POS?
POS is Brink.
Par break.
Yep.
Really? First time I've heard that on the show.
Yeah.
First time I've heard of it. Tell me more. Are you happy with it?
Love it.
How long have you been using it?
We've been using, oh gosh.
As long as you've been here, or 5 years?
No, we used to use
Before me.
Aloha. We used to
Okay.
use Aloha, and then we switched to Par Brink.
Are you saying PAR?
PAR.
Par break.
Mm-hmm.
Is it from Par POS?
Yes.
Is it, so it's like a division of their.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay, I've definitely heard of Par.
Yeah.
So what's Par break?
Brink might just be like the local one that he calls. I don't know. It's just our rep, Jesse, that we work with.
He's amazing.
Are you saying
amazing.
BRINK? BRINK. Brink. Is that like an area around here or something? Like
No, it's not. He's from Pleasanton, so it's not like where he's from.
Yeah,
I don't know if
I don't
it's
know
just
what it
like a
is.
segment
maybe
of
they're
it.
contracted out to be the Par representative out here.
Yeah, maybe. Because I know like when we have issues, any kind of tech issues, and we go directly to Brink, if he can't solve it, he'll go directly to Par.
Okay, so I'm just going to call this Par going forward.
Okay.
So you're using Par. Is it like a tablet cloud-based solution?
No, it's not cloud-based.
So what is it? Is it like paint the picture? Is it? I ask hard questions.
Yeah, what do you mean?
So is it is it more like a legacy where you have to get the VPN, like somebody come in and like update it, or is it like every month? Is it a subscription where like whenever you pay your bill, is it a monthly bill, or do you pay for it like one time?
No,
and own it?
you pay every month.
Okay.
Every month we're paying for it.
And when I say is it cloud based, is it like every month do you have to like update? Do you have to do like a new software update where it takes care of like all of your like VPN, or is it VPN like the credit card encryption? You know what I'm talking about? How you have to like update that?
I know they have to update it every Thursday morning, and they have. But
We
have a tech guy for all this.
you hired out for that. That is an answer.
Well, I think we had to have a POS company that was going to be able to use us changing our flavors every single day.
Okay.
And so we had to have a POS that would integrate with us being able to go in. Our managers are going in and we're changing flavors and we're editing stuff on the POS every single day.
Why are you changing flavors every day? Specials?
We
You have to clean the machines. Yeah, so if you have that many machines, they have to be cleaned by bacterial growth.
Okay.
So we're always changing out different flavors. And so
you can service the machines.
yes.
Got it.
And so the flavors change very frequently. And so every single day they're going on and updating the flavors when they change out those machines. And so we had to have something that was doable for that. Same with the app. I mean, it was a big struggle with the app. Like, hey, like it's not like we have cheeseburger and fries every day and it's never going to change. Our flavors
very
are going
like
to change
that.
every
Yeah.
day. So we had to use Paytronics. We
have
had
a lot
to
of
find
different
apps and POSs and whatever that could work with us being very hands-on with this and us having young managers that are going to hop on this every day at multiple locations. It had to be user-friendly.
So Toggle, RSP, Merchant Centric, Par, and Paytronics. What's Paytronics do?
Paytronics is our loyalty.
Okay.
So we use them for all of our gift card needs. That's where our app is based out of, and it integrates with Par so that it's very easy, user friendly.
And do you see in terms of the loyalty, is that like a big does that have big influence for you? Do a lot of people? So get into the.
So we built our loyalty probably about 3-4 years ago. We actually started diving into it and using it more frequently. The last couple of years, we've started doing more of like that Starbucks model where they're actually sending out different dashes for them to use and different things to bring them in, and it's huge. I mean, we've seen the customer accounts just compared to last year
Skyrocket.
Skyrocket.
Yeah.
So
It's
if
massive. We know that we have Patronics users, like there are people that have downloaded our app and we have their email, we have their contacts, and we're going to run a promo and we do an email blast to them. It's going to insane.
Yeah.
It's going to pop off. Like,
yeah. Any information that we want to get out to our customer base, we know the best way is to go through a Patronics email or a push to get that information out to our customers.
Yeah.
It's not social media. It's not anything else.
We've learned through all this. It's like,
loyalty.
just doing this post or maybe doing this sponsored ad. It's like, no, we know that doing this is going to give us the best. It's the best data that we pulled. So
what do you think Yogurt Mill is best at today? Like if I were to drill you guys on some specific areas of expertise, something that you're just like, this is my area. This is our area. Like, what is it?
yeah, it's quality product.
Yeah.
Quality product.
That's what it is. Yeah. You go to any single frozen yogurt shop, and I will tell you right now, it's never going to taste as good as ours.
Okay. So what do you do? What is your secret for delivering that quality product?
We know how to run the machines.
Mm-hmm. With Larry's background, he has taught, and that's one of the really cool things of us being a women-led business and having a lot of women in the stores. They all know how to work those machines. They know how to troubleshoot them. They know how to switch parts on them.
Oh yeah, we have people come in that are adjusting, I don't know, air conditioning units or whatever, and they're like, they let you guys switch out the parts on these machines? Like we literally get stuff like that all the time. We switch out machine parts every 4 weeks.
So is your training, like, how do you get to the point where you get all these young people able to work on the machines? Is that part of the training?
It's a part of the. That's the part of the training.
So what does your training look like?
For Elite?
Yeah, like what?
Yeah, for Elite, if you're going to learn how to open and you're going to learn how to clean out machines and run that process, then every single 4 weeks, you're going to change out parts. So you learn parts when you're going to learn how to
clean the machine, replace.
So you're in charge of training, right?
Yeah.
So what does your training program look like?
Yeah, so it's actually long. I wish that I could make it shorter. But if you come in and you're a squad member, the time that it takes you're going to be off the floor for 2 days. You're going to learn our policies. You're going to learn who we're about. You're going to learn a little bit of those logistical compliance things that you need to get out of the way. But you're also going to learn our whole entire menu, and you're going to learn how to swirl. And to learn how to swirl, it takes time. The first time you pull it out, there's going to be yogurt everywhere. And there's not really anywhere around that. It just takes time to learn it and master the art of it, and how many you're going to get comfortable with feeling the toppings and how many scoops of everything. The menu is very diverse, so it just takes time. And being on the floor, whether you're helping inside, you're doing DoorDash, you're a cash expo, you're an order taker. No new hires like to be order taker because they're nervous, and so
That's the part I like the most.
Mm-hmm. It just takes time.
Yeah,
and they're all young, and it takes time, and I would say it probably takes about a little over a week to train a squad member.
Okay, and what does the training program look like? Are you using software to organize it?
No, right now what we do is we have a train the trainer program. So right now, when a new hire comes in, they're going to come to onboarding, and we have a store trainer that's trained how to train them to go through the 7-day process. Then my ops support manager here, they go to their day 7. So it's their last day of training, and they float through every single position on the floor with them, and they sign them off on every single position, which means that they're signed off to run shifts solo. And then once they're signed off, they're good to go. And now they're on the floor solo just like everyone else.
One of her big projects is putting it into an actual LMS system.
Yeah,
is what she's
learning
working
management
right now.
system. Right now we're working with DiscoverLink to create a full LMS program where all the training materials and manuals and everything will be in there.
So this is something that you've recently vetted?
Mm-hmm.
What was it about DiscoverLink that you liked?
We had done some demos with a few. I think that what we liked about DiscoverLink is that it was simple.
Yes.
We didn't need some big, huge, vast thing. It's not, like, for example, with Restaurant Systems Pro, we don't even use beverage systems. We're only using food systems. So we're not full service. So DiscoverLink was the right fit for us.
What were you shopping? What else were you shopping in terms of training?
The biggest thing that I just wanted for training that was something that was going to house everything, and that was something that was easily workable with the crew. My vision is that a new hire comes on, we welcome them, we pull up their iPad, it already shows their name, their whole profile, and it shows, okay, you're a squad member. This is where you're at. These are all the trainings that we need to get done to give you this check mark or this green, and you've hit the
curriculum.
star.
So you're teachers.
Yes.
So like this is a syllabus. It's and it's a way to kind of have each new hire have like a, you can
trust and verify what they're doing.
Absolutely. I could be here from the corporate office and I could say, hey, they signed off on that quiz, or this was their hand washing thing that they need to learn how to properly wash their hands in the state of California. It was signed off on. So now it's also compliance. Like, sexual harassment is built in there. So, if they need to refer to the employee handbook, they know it's housed in there and they can log into their account and watch and view the employee handbook.
So they open up Discover Link and they have all their training that they ever have to, as they're going through their training and taking their tests, it's tracking along the way what they've gone through.
It's a lot of work to build the LMS, though.
Right. I'm curious what other LMS learning platforms were you looking at that you decided not to go with?
Gosh, I'm trying to remember the name. It was a minute ago.
Yeah.
There's Wisetail.
Wisetail.
Opus.
It was Wisetail.
Okay.
It was Wisetail, and there was another one that Jamie just brought up.
I'd like to ask this kind of stuff because, I've heard of Wisetail. I've heard of Opus. I've heard that they're both great. You know?
It was just too advanced for us. We didn't need all that.
Yeah, and I like pulling back the layers on this stuff because there's options out there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And, I think it's also really important that we talk about the different options because it's really easy for these companies to become gigantic if they're really good at getting market share. Then everybody just starts echoing the same products and services.
Yeah.
And we don't need a bunch of I think Toast is a great POS.
Yeah,
there are a lot of other great POSs out there.
Yes.
And I think that everyone's you need Toast.
Yes.
I'm not saying don't get Toast. I'm just saying
there's other options.
Par's great.
Yeah.
Spot On's great.
It's whatever works for you and your.
Yeah, and I think that it's just kind of not a really good thing when these companies get too big.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, we need to talk about shit. That's one of the things we need to talk about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The same with Restaurant 365. It's they got a lot of marketing dollars behind that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Restaurant Systems Pro is amazing, and the people behind that company are amazing.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's just really why I'm drilling so much. So it's called Discover Link, first time mentioned on the show. So stoked about that. Thank you very much. Is there anything we haven't discussed today? Anything that you think is a key part of your story, or just something that you want to make sure is a part of what you want to pay forward to other people trying to achieve what you're doing?
Yeah.
I think my biggest thing is just like we were saying, just kind of that mention for Larry and Sochi and how much they've taught us. I think that working side by side with them has been such an amazing experience and everything they've taught us. And I think not only just having passion for the business, but having passion for your crew and taking care of your people has what's really set us apart from a lot of people. We do get a lot of young kids. We get a lot of people that this is just the stepping stone to their career or to that next step in their life of them going off to college. And I don't think we're just teaching them how to swirl yogurt. We're teaching them life skills that they're going to take everywhere. And I think that has been a huge reason of why I've been around for 15 years. Larry and Sochi have just always taken care of me and always had a conversation. And it's just always been an amazing experience. And I think moving forward, that's something that we've had in talks with our consultant of what we want to continue to have. I want every single person that steps foot into Yogurt Mill to have the same experience I have had, for them to look back and be like, wow, it's amazing.
And when I say Restaurant Unstoppable's mission is to change the world, this is what I'm talking about. And the only way we can change the industry is from the inside out.
Yep.
And that's working on one restaurant owner at a time,
Yeah.
shifting their perspective, improving their values, and helping them understand that your job, when you choose to open a restaurant, you have a responsibility to that person you're hiring.
Yeah.
You have a moral responsibility to make that person a better person, to lift them up. And if we get everybody thinking like this, and that's the transformative power of the restaurant industry. We mold the future because we hire mostly first time ever employed people.
Yes.
That's super powerful what we can do.
I think Eric and I were talking a lot about recently too. How do we change the perception of the restaurant business that it's a career?
Hire more or get more teacher CEOs.
Yeah.
That's one way to start.
Yeah, where do we find the teachers? Because I think there's just been this perception that quick service restaurant can't be a career. You need to go find a real person job or whatever it
9
is.
to 5.
A 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and that the restaurant business isn't something that you can find a career on. So how do we show our team that it's a career? I think we're a perfect example.
Yeah.
They're like, oh my gosh, if they can do it, we can do it, but we want them to be something also that they're proud of.
Yeah, I think it also starts with doing what we're doing today, which is sharing knowledge and raising the bar on owners.
Yeah.
Because if we make it more competitive by sharing information and by all ships rise with the tide, right? We're going to rise to that level of respect that we've deserved over the past years.
Yeah.
And I think that as the world becomes more automated and AI starts destroying more corporate jobs,
That's
people
true.
are going to be like, where the hell am I going to go?
Where am I going to go?
You know, what AI isn't good at is social intelligence and situational intelligence.
Yeah.
It's still, all AI is good at is like repetitive, predictive things.
Yeah.
And the restaurant industry is
It's not.
chaos and full of relationships.
It is.
So like, it's going to be one of those industries that I think is like, there's going to be like a wave of people coming, and it's such an intimate industry too.
Really.
It's not just like relationships, but we're literally taking life, i.e. fruits and vegetables and animals, killing those things and providing life with it.
Yeah.
You know, it's intimate. I don't know. I get really excited when I talk about this shit.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I love it.
Yeah. So it's been a lot of fun talking to you ladies. What's the future look like? What's the vision? Where are you going?
Oh, gosh, where aren't we going?
Yeah.
You know, we're really excited. We have purchased land to build more locations. So, you know,
What's the goal?
Just to dominate this trade area. I mean,
that's what it is.
Oh.
Our vision has always been to dominate California, you know, the most beloved soft serve brand. And, you know, we already feel like we've done it.
Is there a 10-year goal? Are you guys afraid to say it out loud?
You know,
it's just all in the works.
I think for us is that us also both as strong females, we want to be able to support work-life balance. There isn't a lot of work-life balance talked when it comes about the restaurant business because it's always so go, go, go all the time. You don't get weekends off. Your weekends are your highest time that you make the most. So Eric and I still want that. We want to be a powerhouse in work and also in our personal lives. So, you know, what can we do to still build more yogurt mills but still keep our lives a little bit? And so that's important to us.
How many yogurt mills do you want?
I think we're all at least 8.
Yeah, I was going to say 7, 8.
At the very least.
What's the
8.
goal? What's the timeline?
It will be done before 10 years.
Yeah.
Before 10 years?
Yeah.
Why do you think that's a good number for you?
I think it allows us to accomplish our goals that we want to accomplish, but also, like Carly said, it still allows us to live life currently and not be so stuck in, we got to grow, and just be burning that midnight oil every single day.
The more locations that you build and your G&A costs here stay the same, the more is going to the bottom line, the more comfortable we are.
I think 8's a really good number for you and your business model in an area, the central, like the California Valley, you know?
Yeah.
Own a market.
Yep.
8 is a number because you have such a streamlined operation and you do one thing really well. I think that you can do that without going to that next phase of like having to go get a VC, you know, and like go raise money to build the C-suite, the chief marketing officer, chief operations officer.
Yeah.
You need all the chiefs.
Right.
Once you get to like 10, you might as well go open 50 because you're going to need that corporate C-suite to manage it all.
Exactly.
But I think 8, if you're just like, if that's the goal and you want to just crush that 8 with a small, tight-knit group of people, you can totally do it. I think there's something to be said about that.
Yeah,
for
agreed.
sure.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's start wrapping it up with a few questions. Unless there's anything that hasn't come out, now's the time to get it out.
I feel good.
No, I feel great. Yeah.
You guys have been awesome. Thank you so much. So what is one thing about your business, a value, a process, a system that makes you uncommon and truly unstoppable?
I think, like we said, our quality product, and I think the drive-through model is something that a lot of people can't.
Oh, we didn't really get into that.
Oh, okay.
Drive-through model.
Oh, yeah, we didn't.
Are the new
it's-
locations going to have drive-throughs?
Some may. I think one for sure that we want to have will probably have a drive-through
one
model.
for sure because it blows the self-serves out of the water. But like I said, it might take you 6 crew to run a self-serve. It's going to take you 40 to run a killer, but you're going to make way more.
Yeah, those drive-through
And you're going to
locations
ball
are-
out on a drive-through.
I almost started asking you ladies about pickup and delivery, and I was like, can you do that with self-serve?
Yes.
Do you do a lot of?
Yes.
Okay.
A
We do.
lot.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So through our Patronics app, we actually have it to where we have our own online ordering platform that people can get it delivered. And like the third party, the DD Drive is through DoorDash. So you can order it through our app. You can order it online on our website.
Are they delivering in like a frozen thing?
No, we actually have procedures that we have to follow
Okay,
at the stores
sorry.
to make sure it stays.
And I cut you short. You
No,
deliver
you're
through
fine.
the app. You deliver through a third party. What
Yep,
else
we
was-
have DoorDash. We have our through our app, and then we have on our website.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who builds your website?
That's our design company, Fervor, out of Arizona.
Got it. Is it Dash Track?
No, it's WordPress.
Oh, okay. Got it. All these questions. You ladies are doing great. Okay. The mission statement is to change the world by inspiring, empowering, and transforming the industry. How have you personally transformed? Who are the ladies you are today versus the ladies you were when you started down this path?
I'm completely a different person than I was when I started.
Who were you before?
I don't know. I don't think that I'm the same person at all. I think that I've learned so much, and I think that I'm more intentional with everything that I do and everything that I say, and, you know, how I choose to go about my days. You know, everything that you do serves a purpose, especially in a higher role, and to take everything that you do seriously. Yeah. I just feel like I've grown a lot. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Erika.
I mean, starting at 19 years old, I definitely have grown a lot. Starting this position, I used to be scared to like call order like pizza like on the phone. You know, my parents were like, "Good God, how are you going to get through life?" So now, like, you know, running a company with Carly is just night and day. I've had
You're calling
3.
like, I need a new walk-in freezer, and I need to do a construction loan.
And
like,
it's just completely different. And I think, getting married, having kids, I've really have grown up in the company. So
that's cool.
Just night and day.
We're not really scared to do anything, really.
No.
You're unstoppable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think that's what it, I guess it's unstoppable. I think that we should say #unstoppable.
I love it. Okay, so this is a solid question. I don't know if you guys want to tag team it. If you give me your own answers, I'll let you figure it out after I ask it. But if you got the news, you'd be leaving this world tomorrow. All the memories of you, your work, and your restaurants would be lost with your departure, with the exception of 3 pieces of wisdom you could leave behind for the good of your the good of community, for the good of the world, and for your legacy. What would those 3 pieces of wisdom be?
Gosh, if everything was lost. Do what you love.
1.
Take care of each other.
2.
Take care of yourself.
3.
Awesome. You can't take care of each other unless you take care of yourself.
Well done. And I don't think I gave you a heads up on this next one, but this is really what I want my North Star to be. I really want Restaurant Unstoppable to take on a more journalistic approach, which is why I live the way I live, so I can stick around. And even though I'm leaving right after this and heading back east, who do you respect and admire in the industry? Who, if I were to interview this person, you'd be like, I really want to listen to what they have to say? Who is that person for you?
Oh gosh. Well, you know what mine is.
I know.
Be.
I knew yours was going to be right away.
Literally, like, my love and obsession is Gordon Ramsay, and it always has been. So if you could interview him,
set the bar high.
I'm going to set it really, really high. Ever since I was young with my dad, we were watching Hell's Kitchen together, and I just loved it, and I respected him. It's work hard, take no shit. You're there to do your job, go get in and get it done. And now he has this new show. Oh my gosh, I'm forgetting what it's called, but I'm literally obsessed with it. And I actually was going to fill out the application to be a part of the show, but it's about the whole business side to being a business owner, and, you know, the cogs, the labor, the whatever it takes to run a successful business, the creative, the marketing side, and all of that. And I just think it's incredible. He sees the whole picture.
What's the name of that show?
Oh gosh, I need to look it up, but
yeah,
it's
I mean,
amazing.
This might be a good angle. Hey, Gordon, I want to promote your new show. How long has it been on the air?
Only about maybe 2 years. Food Stars.
And
he just had Lisa Vanderpump on it being a co-host, and this is the most recent one.
Nice.
And she, Lisa Vanderpump, she owns a bunch of restaurants in West Hollywood, huge restaurant mogul. She's incredible. Another one that I really, really look up to. She's fabulous.
Gordon, Lisa, look out. Yeah. And do you have somebody you'd like me to talk to, Erika?
I mean, I don't think I really have anybody in the actual food industry. I'm more of like I said, kind of like a sports buff. So I like to coaches and different things like that I follow.
Any authors, coaches that wrote a book that might have some good coaching advice?
Honestly, I really want to dive more into like Bill Belichick. I've always liked him, and I think that he's super competitive, and, you know, I think he's a little bit old school like I am. So I like his
What do you think
model.
of his dating approach?
His dating approach, I would not. I'm a little too young, but
any
whatever.
Non-Patriot fans out there, Bill Belichick, 72, is dating a 23-year-old
Yes.
young lady.
Yeah.
Hey, I say more power to him.
Yeah.
This has been a lot of fun, ladies. How can we connect if we really enjoyed listening to your story? Maybe we want to follow you online, or maybe come work with you. Social handles, emails. What's the best way to reach out?
Yeah, mine's carly.young@yogurtmill.com. If anyone wants to reach out, Yogurt Mill Froyo on Instagram, Yogurt Mill on Facebook.
Yep.
Got it. Erika, Carly, thank you guys so much for letting me sit with you, share your story, make an example of you. There is no questioning. You are unstoppable.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
you.
It's been a pleasure.
You.
Thank you so much.
You were great. Cheers.